Welcome to the Healthy Hustling Podcast. Oop, there goes my camera. I'm Dr. Eric Broadworth, and I am being joined today by Danny Carpenter. Danny is does a lot with marketing and branding and content on social media, and he's done a lot right now in the fitness industry, working with quite a few gyms in West Michigan, and then just some different brands throughout the United States as well. And so I'm really pumped for this episode and some things that we're going to be sharing with everyone. We've got some special things to talk about, that's for sure. So Danny, thanks for joining me.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, no problem. So tell us a little bit about yourself. I kind of mentioned, that you're doing some branding and everything like that. What kind of branding do you do, and who really are you working with?
So I work with a marketing agency based between West Michigan and West Florida. And my background is actually aviation. So we had a lot of aviation clients for a long time and still do today. But over the course of the years, that has spanned out to additional industries, from manufacturing to real estate to health and fitness. And there's been a lot in between, restaurants and different types of restaurants. So we've really just taken on the joy of being able to help any kind of business get from A to B. And the majority of what that entails has been social media based. The strategy behind that, how to attract your audience, as well as creating content with photos and videos, and of course some graphic design and some other things included in that.
Yeah, awesome. And you do really, really good work. So anyone that is not checking you out or wants to check you out, they should. And your Instagram handle is, I believe, Danny Carp, right? At Danny Carp.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you really do. You do awesome photography and just put some really good content out there. That's it's fun, it's entertaining, and it shows off, who you are and the brands that you like to work with. And we're going to get into that really next, and how we became acquainted, I guess, and how we met. It's probably been now, I met you at Train Grand Haven. And were you at the opening? Were you at that opening workout, or did you join a little bit later? It was one of their events that they had going on.
It might have been a little bit later, but I do know this. I was not a CrossFit guy. I was always scared of it. I heard all these rumors about people getting hurt and different things and just throwing a barbell over your head. It was not for me. But when Train opened, I was like, now's the time to do it. I'm going to be a new guy along with everyone else. So I'm pretty sure that I jumped on board pretty quickly after they opened.
Yeah. And so Train Grand Haven, that's a gym, CrossFit box that I work with and that you work with as well. So I do some physical therapy services out of there, help out their clientele and stuff if they're dealing with any injuries, and then anyone really in the Grand Haven area right there. And then you're doing some social media content and branding with them, right?
Yeah, and it's the same thing that I was saying earlier. We really just saw that they were a new startup, new to the area, and we wanted to help them as best as we could. We have a local account here in Grand Haven that's very community driven and creator based. And so we initially started using that account to help draw some attention to Train Grand Haven, raise some awareness. And then of course, as the relationship built, we were able to get in there and help with some marketing ideas, some different connections, and some photography to help out with some of their social media. So they're just an awesome crew. They're doing a really good job, especially during everything that's going on, to continue to support their community. And yeah, we've had a blast working with them so far.
Yeah, and let's touch on that on a little bit about Train Grand Haven and Cassie and Mike over there. They've done such an awesome job at building such a strong community in really a very short period of time. I mean, those two, they know what they're doing. And I think what's more important than they know what they're doing is the fact that they care so much about the community that they built and the members that they have. they have taken the equipment. I don't even know how much equipment is left in Train Grand Haven. And I know some other CrossFit boxes have done this as well, but I mean, they have taken all of their equipment and given it to their members, loaned it out at no extra cost, and are providing programming for their members to do during this quarantine. And I tell you what, like, if I was stuck inside, me personally, like, I love being active, I love fitness. I need, that is my like out, you know what I mean? And so for them to just, they're struggling like anyone else, but to be able to just do that for everyone is amazing.
Yeah, it's they definitely give all that they've got into that business. It's by far one of the nicest CrossFit gyms that I've ever been to. Equipment's all brand new. I know when I'm posting pictures and stuff, all my other friends from around the country are just blown away at that place. So it's drawn a lot of attention. So they're doing a lot of things right. But yeah, they just want to continue to help the community to stay active, which is the goal. That's the focus of a business. But certainly hard times, and they're doing all they can through it. But the trick has been, what can we do to continue to help support them during the time?
Right. And so let's get into that. You came to me with this idea kind of to help them out, and who have you teamed up with to help out Train Grand Haven along with some other local CrossFit boxes and the fitness community?
Yeah, so a couple months back, I started working with a men's athletic wear brand called 10,000, and they are basically this better than yesterday mentality. Be faster every day, stronger every day, just as long as you're better than yesterday. I just love who they are. I love their aesthetic, all of their marketing. Those are all the things that usually impress me with a brand. But more than that, they primarily specialize in making men's training shorts, and by far they're the best that I've ever used. And it says a lot about them. But outside of everything of who they are, they have been trying to help a lot of CrossFit gyms since this whole pandemic started. And one thing that they started at the beginning of last month was giving some CrossFit gyms individual discount codes that their members could use. And anytime the member actually purchased something, the gym would get the kickback. So I think there's some other brands out there trying to be creative, but I haven't seen anyone do something like that. And then really, as of late, what they've turned it into now is they've found and handpicked a select 30 gyms across America. Train Grand Haven is one of them. Eighth Day Gym is another one. And they, one day a month is designated to each gym, and they're going to get 50% of the profits back to them, as well as 10% across the whole month. So it's just amazing what the brand's doing to try to help out. And of course, it raises awareness for who they are, brings community together, and just allows everyone to be on the same creative level.
Yeah, absolutely. That's so cool that half of the proceeds are going back into the community that, that we just love to be a part of and want to help out and help these gyms survive. So that way, when this quarantine is over with, we can get back to having fun and moving and feeling good, physically, mentally, all of those things. Yeah. So, and I've looked at some of, 10,000 stuff. They seem to have some pretty good shorts, like you said, and their aesthetics good, looks good. Anything else that I guess you want to input about 10,000?
They've just been awesome to work with. I was able to get an awesome opportunity to be able to connect with them. And, I get asked all the time on how to be an influencer for a brand or a brand ambassador. And honestly, it's really living what that brand is before even approaching them. And that was something that I was just doing. I was living it out every day. I was working out. I was searching for good things to wear. I came across 10,000, purchased some products and wore them. And I'm always creating content. So naturally I was going to create something with 10,000, and it got noticed and was able to have some connections. And just one thing led to another. So it's definitely a brand that I believe in. It's a product that I believe in, and I brag it up and down to anyone to at least try out. They got a really cool program too.
Yeah, that's awesome. I'm excited to see kind of what this does here and where. So if someone wants to check out 10,000's clothing and everything like that, where can they go? They got a
Yeah, the
website?
website is just 10,000.cc.
Okay.
And once you scroll on there, you're going to see the 3 shorts that they create, which is a foundation, session, and interval. And then, of course, along with that, they have some different shirts, some underlayer, some tights and socks and pants and whatnot. So they're working hard to hear what the people want. I'm constantly getting surveys and different where they're asking for different ideas and stuff, which is really cool to see a brand grow. And then really what else is cool about them is during this whole pandemic, every day they've been posting workouts from different athletes and ambassadors on their page every morning at, I think it's 10 o'clock Eastern. So if anyone's interested in looking for something to do that day or wants to just mix up what they're doing, it's all at home, like living room based workouts that you can do. So again, just another way they want to support the community, just like Train Grand Haven's doing.
Awesome. Yeah, that's really cool. And sorry, we got a special guest here, my dog Belle.
I love it.
Wanted to make an appearance. So how has this quarantine, kind of going back to, I guess, the gyms and fitness and everything like that, how's this whole quarantine coronavirus thing like changed your perception of gyms and fitness, physical health, mental health? Has it changed your perception of that at all? Have you taken anything like new from this?
Man, that's a good question. I feel like right before this all hit, I was in a really good routine at the gym. I found what my flow was of my morning routine, getting up and going through devotions and cup of coffee and getting ready and heading to the gym kind of thing. So it was really a part of my everyday life. And it's working out in the morning is something that fuels me for the rest of the day. So it was something I needed. So when this changed, I tried to, as quickly as possible, adapt to the same thing. To be honest, I struggled just like a lot of people are in finding their schedules and figuring out what flow works for them. But Tranger and Haven, speaking of them, just because they're my home gym, they're putting out daily workouts, which are something that I've adapted to. I've adapted to 10,000 workouts and really just try to find something that fits and flows with me. But yeah, for real, it's been a struggle. But for the most part, I'm used to working from home with marketing. Now I'm missing my afternoon coffees and networking with people and stuff, but
You can still make the afternoon coffee. I do it all the time.
I still make the coffee, trust me. I'm having multiple cups a day, but going out to a coffee shop, which is something that I always thrive for, we're missing. So, we've adapted to Zooms.
I agree with that. I am big on I love checking out new coffee spots and trying some local, coffee shops and everything like that. And that's something I miss. And so I actually have a French press. I don't know if you have one of those. To me, it's life-changing. I love the thing. It takes a little bit longer to make the coffee in the morning, but so recently with all the coffee I'm buying, I'm making sure I'll get the whole beans and grind it down, and I'll make sure that it's coming from a local coffee place because I want to support those local businesses and the small businesses. And at the same time, it's I'm not going to get their coffee otherwise. And so it's kind of like being able to be there and have that coffee, and yet it's a little less expensive because I'm kind of buying it in bulk, right, and not there. And I'm supporting them still at the same time. So I am excited to get back to being able to spend some money there. Yeah.
It's definitely changed the flow for sure. But I think if we don't try to take advantage of the new opportunities, the new structure, honestly, it's just like learning these new social platforms and the latest trends and stuff, something that we try to pride ourselves on with our market agency. We just have to adapt to it. We have to make the best of it and continue to stay positive. And so without diving into all the pandemic stuff, that's just what we've done. We've tried to really capitalize on some new opportunities, figure out where we could help people Social media has continued to be thriving even more now because businesses need to communicate with their audience. So, yeah, I think it definitely affected the flow in the day.
Yeah. So kind of going on to that, as far as like content creation on social media, do you have any tips for anyone that wants to get involved with the fitness scene or the social media scene? Any quick tips? I know there's like, obviously you could spend days like talking about this kind of stuff. There's so much stuff to try and, you know, learn, but anything you got?
Well, yeah, so definitely, Eric. As far as creating content, tips and tricks, we could talk for days on all that stuff. That's what I thrive and live for. But I think really the biggest question is you got to ask yourself if you're wanting to create content. I mean, clearly, I had a good discussion with a buddy the other day who's like, I think I might get a camera because I want to shoot some stuff. I'm not a photographer, but like, where do I start? Well, that's where the drive is. You know, you
Yeah.
want to be able to create, and that's just something that has always been in me. I've always looked at a picture or something outside of a tree or who knows what it was, and just try to put my phone in a certain position to try to create the best image. And I think what draws a lot on that is what I'm inspired by. So these other creators that I'm following on Instagram are influencing me. That's exactly what an influencer is on how to shoot something differently or how to create something better. So let's use taking photos or running social media for like Train Grand Haven or any gym. Well, I'm seeing what other gyms are producing. I'm thinking about the content that I've created for a restaurant last year or who knows what it was, and kind of combining all of those things together to try to create the best piece of content for a gym, for that example.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think, you know, one of the things that you hit on, but you didn't quite say is like, you want to speak directly to your audience with any content that you're creating. I would say that is the biggest and most important piece, is to know exactly who your audience is and who you're speaking to. So like you're speaking to people that are interested in health and fitness and that scene there. And so, and then specifically when you're, you know, with the train crew, you're focusing on CrossFit specifically and people who enjoy doing CrossFit. So yeah, no, those are some awesome tips. I like how you mentioned too, like playing with different angles and looking at other people's content as to what are they doing that you like and what are they doing that's successful. And I think that goes along with anything in life really, is to model yourself after successful people and really take bits and pieces, right? Because you're not going to be, you can't be like Mark Cuban, you know what I mean? Like you are not him, but you are Danny Carpenter and you have something that Mark Cuban doesn't have to bring to the table. And so you just need to find what works for you and what you like and what your style is. And yeah, no, I think that's awesome. I think that just applies to everywhere in life too.
No, you hit the nail on the head. You're exactly right. So for whoever is listening to this, everyone's a part of some kind of business, and not everyone can create content. Not everyone wants to be a marketer, but even if you're not, just recognizing that the appearance of your brand, what you're selling, what you're serving to customers, finding that customer base is of course key, but having that professional image is just as important, because as soon as you attract those customers to your business and then they check everything out, more than likely more and more people today are going to be like, oh, that's what I'm coming to. But if you have everything together, if you're branded from your logo and your bios and your social platforms and your website, all of that is synced together, which is exactly what we've been working on with a brand here recently. It definitely matters. So yeah, there's a lot of first steps of just playing on platforms like Facebook and Instagram. Get your phone out and just take some photos and figure out what you'd like to create. Naturally, for like someone like you, is you want to create content based around your business and what your audience needs. And if that's something you love and you enjoy and you're passionate, you just continue to make content. It's the model of just continually to put out quantity over the quality, which is something I actually struggle with. I feel like I nitpick everything that I'm putting together, but send it out, because you're learning as you're doing that. You're going to get a week, a month, a year later, and you're going to go, wow, I've learned a ton. That's exactly what
Yeah.
I've basically done over the course of my career with marketing.
Awesome. No, I love it. Um, any other is there any other tips as far as social media content that you have, or we want to kind of leave it there and people can reach out to you?
Well, I'm always down to help people for sure. I think it's something that I'm just passionate about. So I'm always down to chat with someone. Anyone can hit me up anytime and talk about business. Always glad to give my advice and my opinion. But yeah, I would definitely encourage people to start trying to create some content, trying to figure out what that niche is. And if that's not you, but you know you need it, find someone. Whether that's me or you or somebody else, there are people out there that love doing this and want to continue to create content. So yeah, it's definitely a huge part of our business. I know that when I search a business out, no matter what industry or what kind of product or service it is, and I get to a lower quality Instagram page or website, it definitely changes my perception immediately of that brand. Maybe I'm at fault for that, but why lose that audience if you it's something that you can fix. So
Yeah,
you're always down to chat about that.
absolutely. So what's the best way for people to find you and reach you? Obviously, you got your Instagram, which is at Danny Carp. Where else?
Yeah, on my Instagram, there's a link for a website and an email address that I can be contacted. It's also Danny Carp at Facebook as well. And yeah, I'm always down to chat, especially meet some new people, set up some Zooms until this whole thing's over, and then we'll be doing some coffee dates.
Awesome. Yeah, no, that sounds really good. So, really appreciate you, Danny, coming on here today on the Healthy Hustling podcast. And for the 10,000 stuff, people to go and support them, do we have the schedule on those 50% dates for train?
I don't have the dates right now on what day in particular train or eighth day or any other gym is. Um, but generally, anyone, we have codes that we can give to get discounts off of purchases, and overall, even 10% is going to be donated anyway. So really, the key is from now until I think it's May 22nd, any purchase is going to go back to this industry, to gyms, which is something that I think we all want to be in place when this thing is over. We all want to continue to be in shape. Some of us, like yourself, have jobs that are based around majority of people doing these kind of exercises and wanting to better themselves. So that's definitely a huge way that we can support our local gyms.
Yeah, awesome. And then, so to order the clothing from 10,000, if someone wants to get a pair of shorts or whatever it may be and they need some, do they just go to the 10,000 site, or is there a special link that they need to go to?
I think they can just go to the 10,000 site, but what I would recommend doing is if any listeners have a gym that is currently in the program, is to ask that gym what their discount code is. So what we can do, like for us, for Train Grand Haven or Eighth Day or CrossFit Grand Rapids, or even Hell's Bells down in St. Petersburg, Florida, that I work out with as well, they're all going to know what their individual code is. So we can ask them what that is and then try to make a purchase through that. And if anyone doesn't have a gym that's in the current program, I have a discount code. It's just Danny Carp as well as my Instagram that you can use, and you can get 15% off as well. But regardless, purchasing is going, anything now through a gym or through my code is going to benefit all of those gyms.
Awesome. That's all good information to have. So again, we'll wrap up. So everyone check out 10,000 Clothing Company. Check out Danny Carp's stuff and everything that he's got going on. Really appreciate you coming on, Danny, and I'm looking forward to continuing to work together when, now through this quarantine, and afterwards we'll get a cup of coffee for sure.
Yeah, we need to. There's some looking forward to the future of helping you guys out and reach more people too.
Awesome. Thanks a lot, Danny.
Okay, thanks for having me on, Eric.
This episode is brought to you by the 10,000 Clothing Company. The 10,000 Clothing Company makes the best training shorts for all your fitness needs. They're also supporting the local CrossFit community, so each purchase that you make right now, they will be giving back a portion of the proceeds, 10%, to the CrossFit community to support your local boxes. Also, this episode is brought to you by the Gentleman's Box. The Gentleman's Box is a men's fashion subscription box company based out of Detroit, Michigan. And I just got their Good Health Edition box in, and let me tell you what, this thing is amazing. It's got resistance bands, it has a cool-off towel, it's got a water bottle that also functions as a foam roller, and even a Bluetooth scale that helps report your BMI, your weight, your body fat. I mean, this thing, they thought of everything. It's a $300 value, and right now you can get it for just $80 with the special code FUEL at checkout. That's FUEL at checkout. So be sure to check out the men's subscription box or by the Gentleman's Box. Go ahead and subscribe there and use that special discount.